Previously,
it's with sylabdul.
Man, if you got a chance to see this trailer, director Destin Daniel Cretton, this dude, this is the Shang-Chi guy, right? He may be giving us the greatest Spider-Man film ever. Like just based off of the leak. Warner Brothers felt like the Ellisons, the David Ellison, head of Paramount Skydance, felt like he was misleading in the takeover bid for Warner Brothers. Zaslav is completely against this Paramount deal. He rejected Paramount 3 or 4 times, and then, obviously accepted Netflix for a variety of reasons. Netflix is the cleaner merge. As I said before, even the bidding started on Warner Brothers, is that they were looking for a merge. This wasn't selling out. Again, I thought Paramount was it's on the surface appeared to be the better deal, but in hindsight and what's coming out now, seems like Paramount wasn't really keeping it real with Warner Brothers and their shareholders. And again, there's several articles out there, but just long story short, the funding that Paramount said that they had, the funds they claimed to have to purchase Warner Brothers, included other investors, right? We talked about the Saudis, the other Arab sovereign nations, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. Collectively, they were putting in over $20 billion towards the deal. And then you got other investors as well, too. The thing that didn't feel right about the bid, though, again, I liked when the Paramount leaked bid came out, we talked about the leak and, again, the Saudi connection. I was all on board, but a part of me, we had to honestly say, okay, if the Ellisons are loaded, they should, if it costs $70 billion to buy all of Warner Bros. Discovery, the Ellisons got it in the bag already. Like, why are you including all of these other bidders? Why can't you just come up with the money and you own all of Warner Bros. Discovery? And it wasn't really ringing a bell with me. I was just looking at the overall, like, hey, Paramount, buy Warner Brothers, and just selfishly, hey, Zack Snyder, Justice League 2 in theaters. I thought that would instantly happen, because we've been following the Saudi connection all this calendar year, right? But it seems like Zaslav and the Warner Bros. Discovery board, they were kind of feeling iffy about what Paramount and what the Ellisons was trying to, say, what they was trying to present. Like, y'all should have the money, right? Why are you relying on all these other nations? And because I figured this would be, including the Arab nations, that this was, to appease possibly the Trump administration, because Trump wants to see global business. The whole CNN angle, that Paramount could take over CNN and basically cover the president, I guess, nicer. But that's kind of backfired. The CBS coverage under Paramount, Trump called them out. So just long story short, Paramount's bid just pretty much fell apart. And it seems like weeks ago, Zaslav was like, nah, I'm not messing with Paramount. Not messing with the Ellisons. He ghosted David Ellison. So something didn't feel right. And then again, Paramount comes with this takeover bid. And again, this pushback, the shareholders of Warner Bros. Discovery have rejected the Paramount bid. And now more is coming out that maybe Paramount doesn't have the money available like we thought, like the Ellisons. Maybe they're not trying to back this with their own money for a reason.
If I sort of think back to what probably happened here, I think they thought they were going to walk in, buy this at $19 a share, not be terribly levered, not need outside money from the Middle East and elsewhere, that they were just going to buy this quickly and be done. And lo and behold, Warner's board starts an auction process, and there's bids from competing companies, and they have to start stretching.
Because maybe they don't have it. It doesn't make sense, but something is not adding up with the Paramount bid, and that's what Zaslav and the board of Warner Bros. Discovery pretty much called out. So, but with Netflix, people are saying, well, okay, even if Warner Brothers chose Netflix, Netflix has to go through the regulatory process and they're going to be denied because this is a monopoly, blah, 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 right? One of the arguments, which I thought was a really good argument, and I was surprised how many people kind of mocked my optimism actually in Netflix argument to obtain Warner Brothers to merge with them. One argument people said was, hey, Netflix is the number one streamer in the world. HBO Max, which is part of the deal that they're buying, HBO Max is number 3 in the world. And so you merge, 1 and 3, you got a bigger market share than any streamer, right? Any premium streamer out there. Netflix pushed back and say, hey, y'all looking at it like it's just, Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, et cetera, just these, premium streaming services. Like that's all that's available for online entertainment. Netflix says, no, we were up against people like YouTube and TikTok. And if you look at the amount of eyes, we're just an online provider, we're just an online entertainment platform. That's what Netflix, they presented this to the WBD board. And it was like, people are looking at it like, like we're not all just online entertainment platforms like YouTube, like TikTok, like Facebook. Netflix is like, we're among all that, and more eyes are on YouTube, more eyes are on TikTok. So it's really not a monopoly. We're just trying to catch up. We're losing attention to these other platforms. I thought it was an amazing argument, right? I was like, okay, Netflix may have a chance to push this through. Now, behind the scenes, Netflix has been talking with the Trump administration, with other regulatory people before Warner Bros. Agreed to the deal. And according to the rumors out there and the chatter out there is that Netflix was convincing people strategically before they made their bid to Warner Brothers. Basically, Netflix was testing the water to saying, showing them evidence like, hey, do you think this will pass? Do you think we have a good argument? And pretty much unanimously, the people they talked to, Netflix felt like they had to go to push this through, to present an argument. So once I learned about that, I was like, Netflix really has a shot, in my opinion. But they want to maintain that branding of Warner Brothers, of HBO, DC, etc. And then behind that image of Netflix and Warner Brothers, people are pointing out, hey, this is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Behind there's a lot of different arguments of is that true? Is this really? Can it be Justice League? Long story short, it's cool to see DC up front and center and showing Justice League, DC, and Snyderverse. That has a lot of people thinking, hey, because right under it, you see the Justice poster, right? So you have it appears to be the ZSJL image. Then right under it, you have the Justice League poster. What is it? Does this mean something or nothing at all? I believe they just took a bunch of images. They wanted some memorable stuff. Netflix is just showing, this is all the stuff we can wield in our hand now. James Gunn, Peter Safran, they have their extension. It is only till like close to mid of 2027. Basically, right before Man of Tomorrow comes out. I believe there's going to be some sort of restructuring with DC Studios. Is this trying to present some kind of truce between the fandoms?
A truce, Bruce.
Like, is that the purpose of this post? Zach and James Gunn, they had that picture inside Warner Brothers office not too long ago, right? And I got people talking, but then you have two sides of this where they're attacking the other creator. Like you have the antis for Zack Snyder, who is constantly pushing James Gunn stuff as superior, and vice versa. You have Snyder fans who feel they feel like that's their identity to have to attack James Gunn every day, which I really never understand that. But some of James Gunn's stuff, like, is it ultimately, for me, I think it's a lot of, you know, goofy stuff, and it's funny to make fun of that at times and make light of it. But also too, I made it clear of the stuff that I enjoy from James Gunn. Guardians 3 is one of them, and his Superman film, I think, is still entertaining overall. So I am looking forward to what he's going to accomplish with Man of Tomorrow. But I seem to be a part of the minority of people who can look at both sides of these creators and say, oh, okay, I enjoy this. I mostly enjoy, obviously, the Zack Snyder stuff. So, and let's really kind of address this. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, right? But it seemed like leading up to Superman, James Gunn Superman, that a lot of people felt that James Gunn Superman had to fail so that he can be fired, and then they'll rehire Zack Snyder and restore everything. Like, I never bought into that, and I mean, that wasn't true. I felt, again, Zack Snyder could do more DC again, whether James Gunn is successful or not. That's where I stood with that, and that's the reality of it. Now that James Gunn Superman has done the numbers that it's done, people want to dispute how much or how little it really made. It's on the books, the profit that James Gunn Superman made. Again, Netflix looks at James Gunn Superman as a blockbuster film. They are not being forced to say that. Just like I heard about the potential Superman box office, months before Superman came out, I was talking about box office expectations. I know people, forget. People forget, the information. People want to have selective amnesia when I put information out there. It's stuff that they probably don't agree with, So I get it. I get the game with that. But I made it very clear on my platform. I think I went to other platforms saying what I was hearing about the Superman box office months before it came out, about expectations. See, when we talk about the business behind this stuff, I've been doing this for several years now, where we're here like early forecasts of things, sometimes a year in advance, definitely months in advance. So I put it out there. James Gunn Superman, their magic number was 500 million. That was confirmed. And I said they will be happy with a box office between 500 and 600 million. They'll throw a parade. And you saw Zazzle doing victory laps because James Gunn Superman got 614 million. So now, like I said, I put it out there. It's very clear. You can agree, disagree all you want. Those numbers held up, what I was told. Now, early rumblings with Supergirl that, I know reading is hard for select few people, but early forecasts of box office is a thing. Like, it's stuff, it could be almost a year in advance at times. You will start to try to dictate the market share of films. So this isn't anything new. Just like, again, I said with Superman, this isn't anything new, what we're saying with Supergirl. Now, early, and yeah, definitely way too early forecast, but again, early forecast for Supergirl is they're not expecting this to make as much as Superman. This is what I'm telling you. Now, what does this mean? Just like with Superman, if it would have came out and blew away the expectations, just like Minecraft, no one expected Minecraft to be $1 billion film or close to it. It came out, it did what it did, it exploded. Superman could have done that. It could have came out and exploded, but it did the market share that they expected. They counted it as a win. Supergirl, what I'm telling you in advance is that they're not expecting the same output of James Gunn Superman. Now, am I guaranteeing, it's going to make less than Black Adam? No, I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm saying in clear English, Supergirl could possibly finish less than Black Adam, meaning it probably can get a little more. Maybe it can get over 400 million. That's still Black Adam territory, right? I think that's clear. But what I'm saying is, if Supergirl comes out and makes less than 500 million, WB will count it as a win if it has the critical audience success. So if Supergirl comes out, no matter what it does, if the critics like it, and if the audience score is there, they will count this as a win.
It's Coffee Talk with sylabdul. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe now.
Wake up in the morning, eyes crusty, heavy yawning. My phone keep going off, so I shut off the alarm and then head into the kitchen to get the coffee brewing. French roast with French vanilla, my own French revolution. Next movement is to tune into Coffee Talk with Sil. My girl starts to yap if I tell her she needs to chill. I hear enough of the yapping from all of these goofy shills. Plus I'm trying to be informed of whatever's the latest deal. For real.
I guess initial thoughts, like the world we're getting, your first thoughts hot off the presses.
I was hoping you didn't hear that.
It was very loud.
You know, are you finished?
This is hilarious. Like this everything's hilarious right now.
Honestly, I don't really care about Man of Tomorrow. What I care about, and it does, I don't want to say upset, maybe it's a little bit more disappointing. It does hurt a bit that Brainiac, one of the greatest villains of all time in super or comic book history, this will be its first ever theatrical it's a theatrical debut for the character. And unfortunately it's going to be under a James Gunn directed film, written film. I don't want to see Brainiac making fart jokes and whatever else, like down like the usual Gunnisms that I really don't care for, and apparently the general public doesn't either. And I just know, because obviously we've all seen what he does with costumes and set designs. I just know this is going to be the most boring humanoid Brainiac of all time. There's multiple different iterations of Brainiac, but there are a couple that are super humanoid. He's just a guy with green skin. I'm expecting something like that. Because I just don't think Gunn is creative enough to make anything more fantastical.
Yeah, this when this announcement popped up, like on the timeline, it took me a few seconds. I was just, I didn't really have a strong emotional reaction either way. You know
I saw it and I looked at it, I processed it, I looked at the pictures. All in probably like 5 seconds, and I was gonna write something, and then I was like, "Oh, who gives a shit?" And I just scrolled. Right.
so actor Lars Eidinger, never heard of him.
No.
Just to be quite honest, I try to look up his, IMDb,
filmography.
Yeah, a lot of low budget or independent films. So it's like he can pull off the look.
Right, he looks just like the humanoid Brainiac we've seen, which just goes back to my main concerns about a James Gunn Brainiac.
And like this dude, it looks like he would just have like one coat of green sprayed on him, and he probably has some regular clothes on and be Brainiac.
Hey, I mean, maybe the fans of Wicked will be attracted to this.
Brainiac, this is the problem, because like the announcement in itself is really anticlimactic. Everything that James Gunn has been announcing with Man of Tomorrow, it's like, okay, when he first announced it, because me and you didn't talk about this. This is when it was on our hiatus. When they announced Man of Tomorrow and Gunn's like, Superman and Lex are back, and I was just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like,
are you supposed to be excited?
Yeah, it's like cool, because again, I'm in the camp of, I gave James Gunn. I felt I gave him a fair shot for the Superman film,
You
and
definitely
I
did.
and I was and I wasn't blown away. Right? It's like it's just there. That movie is there. It did what it did, and so when you're saying we're doing more of the same, it's like I didn't really have a strong emotional reaction there. When you heard of Man, you kind of said it like, "Hey, I really don't care about Man of Tomorrow." But when you first heard that announcement, was it just kind of like, meh? Like, how did
Yeah,
that
I
go across
was
to you?
disappointed that they're getting a sequel, but I'm not surprised that they're fast tracking it just because of his whole contract situation. He is under the gun of time to not
Intended.
fun, but yeah, I mean, I didn't care. I especially hate that they're going with Man of Tomorrow as the title.
Mhm.
When we all know the planned sequel for Man of Steel was supposed to be Man of Tomorrow.
Mhm.
And we also know the sequel that was planned was going to have Brainiac in it. And then here's Gunn taking the name, taking the villain. Sure, you can argue Brainiac is up for grabs, whatever. But it's a
Mhm.
coincidence, regardless.
I mean, it's
Um,
it's kind of on the nose, though. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like it's just too many. Like, oh, interesting. That was similar, or that's probably what was being planned anyway. So again, it's just lack of
Mm.
creativity to come up with something different. And like he knew that it was out there, that people knew that that was going to be the sequel to Man of Steel,
Yeah,
but he took those elements anyway.
it was even a script was
It was
written,
written, yeah.
and I'm sure he saw that script, for the Henry Cavill sequel, and he saw that Brainiac was in it. So I mean, it's
We
you
all know
know,
about it. Like anyone who has their ear to the ground knew that that was out
Mhm.
there, that it's in the WB vault somewhere. And
Mhm.
we're supposed to believe that Gunn didn't read it and just make his own version of it.
Right, and to be fair, because I know it's going to be, with the mixed viewership I get of different backgrounds, someone's going to be like, hey, Warner Bros has wanted to do Brainiac for like 30 years now,
Yeah, we've
which
all
is
wanted
fair.
Brainiac for 30 years. That's why this is disappointing.
And so, and hearing that again, Zach would have done it if they allowed him just to do his Man of Steel 2 sequel. And then again, when Cavill came back in Black Adam, and then they were going to do the sequel,
Hmm.
Brainiac again was in that script. So now we finally get it. Brainiac, as DC fans, it's like this is supposed to be monumental. Like this is like,
Yeah, the fact that this is
you
not getting any kind of attention online, and it was
know.
dropped on the weekend on a Saturday morning or early afternoon, depending on where you are, and
Mhm.
everybody is just like, eh,
Right,
whatever.
right. I
Like,
mean,
not getting any buzz.
because I'm trying to see, like, in real time, I'm trying to see if it's anything like trending. Because like as we're recording this, it just was announced, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, because just like imagine um if if anything was announced, like Batman being cast, I think that would break the internet, because
Absolutely.
it's Batman. You know what I mean? Uh, Man of Tomorrow didn't really trend. I think like when Cornswell was announced, it was kind of a buzz because it was a new Superman.
Yeah, there was a
But
lot of buzz when he was cast.
yeah, but it's just like everything else that Gunn does, it's not popping. And I tweeted out this morning before this announcement was made. I was like, because Gunn kept teasing,
Yeah.
Brainiac stuff, and I was like, okay, the announcement's coming, but I'm like, Gunn has to nail this. Like, probably get like a famous actor or just someone with a lot of gravitas or
Yeah.
something. And it's just like this dude is like, okay, it's just
If
I,
this guy
I
doesn't
want to
put on,
feel something.
yeah, if this guy doesn't have a Michael Shannon, General Zod type of performance, it's gonna fall
Mhm.
flat. This movie is literally riding on that. And the issue with that is Gunn's films don't have enough strong of a writing to create such a compelling character in that way. And I don't think he has the skills to really direct it unless it's some CGI animal crying about some kind of abuse. So I don't see it happening. I'm sorry. And it just like you said, there's no buzz, very little minimal buzz. And it probably just goes
Mhm.
to show people are just like already over the whole Gunn thing. They were excited to see what he was going to do, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. He was going to bring that epicness over to DC. Superman did not meet expectations. Peacemaker 2 basically flopped. Creatures Commando is moving to YouTube apparently now because no one's watching that.
So yeah, just looking at some of these comments though, this just feels like, just like I said, just anticlimactic. I don't know other way to say it. Like, a lot of people were expecting something major for this casting. Like we had this comment here, we was talking about where it just seemed like people are questioning again, like, was this the right move? Like, knowing that you're not really looking forward to Man of Tomorrow, right? But knowing this is a major DC character,
Yeah, I care about the characters.
do you think like he should have got like a famous actor or something like that? Like just
No.
in general.
I don't think he should have gotten someone on the scale of like a Matt Damon. Absolutely not.
Mhm.
I like that he went with someone relatively unknown. Like the way if Zack Snyder would have chosen like an A-lister for Zod, that would have eclipsed the movie. And I don't think Gunn wants that with his films. Maybe get someone that people know more of. Like Michael Shannon already had a body of work that we could have looked at when he was Zod, so we knew he was a super intense actor and we knew what he was going to bring to the table. Whereas with this guy being Brainiac, we have no idea who he is. No one's really seen him in anything. I think that comment was alluding to the whole Star-Lord thing. Chris Pratt, Star-Lord. And again, I don't think that's comparable at all because we've seen Chris Pratt and stuff and he transformed into the role. I don't think anyone is negatively judging him. Maybe they're judging him based on his look or they're just upset because they don't know who he is or what it is. But that's just stupid. I mean,
yeah. I mean, like I said, as far as the look, I think they're gonna pull off some kind of android looking dude, you know, and so I think that'll work as far as the look. It's just more like, you know, will I care enough? That's really where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, an actor is limited to the material that they're given. Is this going to be a super serious Brainiac? You know, like we don't know what personality we're going to be getting here. It seems like there's like a de facto personality throughout all of the characters in these DCU, MCU type films. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll find out in the trailer. I'm sure they're going to drop him in makeup, things like that, just to kind of get people a little bit more rallied. I think that might create a bit more hype and buzz around this. But I don't think a side-by-side image like this is going to do anything for anybody.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. And a lot of people may remember, as far as DC fans, the old Krypton series had a Brainiac and a live action, and it looked pretty good on the Sci-Fi Channel. You know what I mean? They did a really good. They had Doomsday in that too. Like, they was actually cooking on that Krypton series. You ever watched the series?
No, I gave up on TV shows, like superhero TV shows. They're all just low budget. It's like,
well, this was before, like, well, how old was that? It was less than 10 years, I believe.
Yeah, I think it recently got canceled. They have like 2-3 seasons. Like it's enough content.
Oh, it was a while ago. Yeah, it was probably like 2 seasons, I believe. They had Lobo in that too. That actually was a good series. If you haven't seen it, I actually suggest. I'm gonna have to do like a watch along. Now I'll just invite you.
We have like a list of 100 things to want to watch along.
Well, that's on the top now. Krypton series to see Brainiac.
One day when I stop being bitter, maybe I'll watch it.
Which could be next week now. But
you never know.
with that though, and the reason why I was saying James Gunn has to really make a splash and like has to, you know, kind of rally the DC fandom in some way, because like you said, this may be his last DC film
he makes,
right?
Yeah.
It's like that's literally, you know, a potential, you know, that Netflix could be like, you know, if Netflix closes it, it could be like, you know, we ain't getting enough buzz from this. Let's kind of switch this up some. Like that's literally possible. So
yeah, I mean, is there anything even on the slate post Man of Tomorrow? I don't think so at the moment, right?
Just a Reeves Batman.
Well, I mean, like from Gunn.
Oh, as far as Gunn, yeah. I mean, this is pretty much it.
This
as
is
far as theatrical. Yeah. Yeah, so because there's really not even a slate right now. Like, it started off with a slate, and then it kind of just was like,
Disappeared. Yeah.
let's do a couple Superman movies and then see what happens.
Yeah, that's not a good sign either.
And actually, let's see, we got this makeshift. Okay, I got the animated dynamic duo film, so that's technically on the slate.
Yeah, because they already probably started working on that, and then Clayface.
Yeah, the Clayface coming out.
That's the movie.
Yeah, that's the low budget. Live action.
But that's the DCU movie?
Yes, it's connected with DCU. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's because at first it started off, Gunn had this this whole slate, and like half that stuff may never happen.
I remember
at this point.
Something about DC and slates, it never works out.
Yeah, let's just never do slates anymore. Just if it's coming out within 2 years, then go ahead and announce it. So yeah, I mean, Gunn is on the clock. Like, this film does have to work, because I kind of put out a story out there about Supergirl. I guess we could briefly touch on it. Last year I was hearing about the James Gunn Superman box office expectations.
Okay, yeah.
And I put it out there. I put the number out there. I was saying they would be happy with 500 million. They will spin it and say, it was a success. That number was confirmed. Like, the reports came out and it was like, yeah, 500 was their number. And I was like, the range is 500 to 600 million. They'll throw a parade. And Zaslav was doing victory laps for 614 million.
He really was.
Though it was less than Man of Steel.
Though they had to work hard to get that extra bit to get over 600.
Right. Because internationally, outside of like one or two markets, it didn't do well at all internationally. So
I rejected it completely. Which is shocking from China.
China's wild, but they're going crazy over Zootopia. So it's like, internationally, it's going to be an uphill battle for DC. Going forward. But so now I'm hearing about with Supergirl from the same people I talked to before about Superman. Now they were saying basically they're not expecting Supergirl. Definitely not going to match Superman as far as box office, and they're thinking it may be closer to Black Adam. That it could be like 400 to 500 million if they get lucky, basically.
Well, yeah, 400 to 500. That's asking a lot.
Under 500 is pretty much the expectations for Supergirl. Now they're claiming, and the official numbers probably are not out yet, but they're claiming they spent dramatically less on Supergirl than Superman. Superman was over 200 million allegedly, and Supergirl probably would be in around the 100 to 150 range. That's what they're going to claim. And so that their number for, I guess, like break even or whatever, it's like 375. Meaning they're not expecting much at all with Supergirl. Like, they're not expecting.
Yeah,
do you think this is some more tricky, like accounting? Do you think because?
Hell yeah, of course.
That's a dramatically low number.
Yeah, I mean, they have to cook we know DC has, or WB has, a history of cooking the books. Zaslav and Discovery were pretty upset when they opened the books post acquisition, and they really got in there. I would have, and we all know, like, there's so many mixed reports about the budget and marketing costs and profit numbers with Gunn Superman. You can't really trust anything that's out there in regards to some of those numbers. And we all know they've been saying it since the beginning that they were going to run victory laps if they hit a certain number, and they're going to promote it as if it was a massive success because they knew this sales was coming up. Same thing with Supergirl. They're not going to have Supergirl come out, bomb in the box office or underperform, and they're not going to go out and be like, yeah, we struck out on that one. That was not good. Like, no, not while they have an impending sale to Netflix going on. Like, they don't look stupid with egg on their face. So they're going to spin it regardless, which is why now you're probably hearing those rumors about them having low expectations. And we actually said it last week. We expect this film to probably do Black Adam type numbers. Won't be surprised if it does Shazam 2 type numbers if it looks really bad. But yeah, I think 450, 500 is a steep hill to climb.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see this approaching, as far as Supergirl approaching 500 million. I don't think, like we're saying, and we were expecting around Black Adam, and I think what's going to happen, probably why I'm hearing this, is that they're going to start putting those type of numbers out there saying, oh, we only spent this much.
Mhm.
So we don't expect much. And they were doing it with Superman too.
Yep,
Though
I'm gonna say that.
they put a lot in the marketing. Like they really was putting in money, but then at the same time, it was like, hey, we only expecting this, we're not expecting $1 billion, rightfully so. So I think with Supergirl, though, you don't have that same luxury to pour into the marketing because Supergirl, Superman is so worldwide known. Supergirl, it's an uphill battle just all around, for that. So we'll see. We'll see the spin, and people can revisit this this summer to see if I was shilling or not on that with Supergirl. So we'll see. We'll see about that. But I think that's going to hold. I think you're going to be seeing some low numbers coming from them to justify the expected low box office for Supergirl. So that is what it is. But breaking news, we coming straight out with breaking news of the James Gunn DCU. Now, my viewers know, hey, I gave James Gunn his chance. I said, I'm going to watch a film. I'm going to critique it, how I critique any film. James Gunn Superman wasn't the greatest Superman film ever. All right, it was not. I do find some entertaining parts of it. The kids love crypto. And everything like that, but it didn't blow the doors off of anything. So yeah, it's like a mid performance, right? With that, I guess just briefly your take on that. I think I saw your recent review on it.
All right, so let me be as soft and polite as I possibly can. I didn't like it. My 12-year-old daughter didn't like it. My wife didn't like it. Now, suffice it to say, now my wife doesn't play second fiddle to me, but she is a type of person that looks for a man to be a man. Let's just put it like that. Okay, so she don't play second fiddle to me. We equal as far as how our marriage and our relationship goes. But she thought that Superman was way too weak for it to be considered a Superman. In essence, what I believe James Gunn tried to do was humanize Superman way too much. We're supposed to aspire to be something, even if we never reach it. The point, in my opinion, in life is to aspire as much as you possibly can before your death. That's the whole point, is to be the best that you can be before it is time, and you pass that greatness along to your lineage, so on and so forth. Well, you can't aspire to something that's not looking to be aspired to. Superman is looking to be on a level as human beings. Superman is not a human being. He's not. You have to treat him that way. I'm not saying treat him like shit because he's a god, because he's considered a god.
He's a god among us, yeah.
Right. He's a god among us. I am saying treat him like something to be aspired to, simply because that's what he was taught. So he's coming from two different worlds. He's coming from Krypton, where his father believed, where Jor-El believed that human beings will look up to this man to be better. And then you have Jonathan Kent's world, where you can be great or you can be a menace to society. That choice is yours. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. That's what Man of Steel was about. Man of Steel wasn't about the shiny Boy Scout. It wasn't about the dude rescuing squirrels and cats from trees and walking old ladies across the street. The story that was being told, if you want to go that deep into it, was about responsibility. It was about consequences. That was the whole point of the story.
And
so
aspirations too.
That aspiration, right? So when people say, they didn't understand Superman because he wasn't this, that's because he wasn't meant to be. That was not the story that Zack Snyder was telling.
You raise a great point as far as, again, how you position Superman as a character. In Man of Steel, like you said, Jonathan Kent was training him, when he was young. Again, what will you aspire to be? People are going to look up to you. Jonathan Kent was like, no, you're not like anyone else. right? But you can actually, lead the way. And then Jor-El as well, Russell Crowe was telling them, like, they're going to look up to you. You're going to be that symbol for everyone.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what Superman is. And then you saw Henry Cavill play it perfectly, where that weight is on his shoulders.
Right. So what people saw as brooding, he's not brooding. This man has got shit he's carrying, bro. I'm a powerful motherfucker. Y'all bullying me and all this other kind of shit. What do you expect, bro?
The perfect scene, a lot of perfect scenes in Man of Steel, but when they were bullying him, he crushes the pole as young Clark. And again, he's showing he has to have that restraint. Again, I'm different than everyone, but I gotta be better. Like, I'm already better than everyone, but I have to be better than everyone. That was Jonathan Kent's message to him.
Exactly. He said, what did he say? He said, you are gonna have to decide what kind of man you want to be, because good character or bad, he is going to change the world. That is one of the coldest lines he could have ever delivered in Man of Steel, bro. I'm leaving that choice to you. I can only do so much. I don't have powers like you. I can only proceed and tell you what you need to know from the standpoint of a human father. That's it. And just like I would tell any other kid without powers, you have to decide what kind of man you want to be. Period. Now that was the point of Man of Steel.
Those lessons in Man of Steel, because I think that's a quintessential Superman origin story. It's up there with Donner for me, Man of Steel. So you're missing that. The point, I'm kind of touching on this because you go to a Superman film now, James Gunn Superman 2025, and it's missing all of that context of how was this Superman trained, because his father was just more like, yeah, you're the best son ever. And I don't know what he taught Clark in this.
Right.
Right. What I mean? And then Jor-El, I mean, he just got bastardized in the James Gunn world, because he's like, get your harem of women,
get you some babies with some Kryptonian blood, show the fuck up like this, and be like, what? Like, bro, what?
Bradley Cooper, because like Russell Crowe, all this inspiration,
the contrast, man. The differences between the two boys like this, and I'm like, wait, hold up. I'm saying, homie is like, that's what this symbol means. The symbol of the House of El means hope. You know what I mean? Exactly. And he is telling you exactly what you are supposed to be.
Exactly.
Even Laura didn't believe it. Even his wife didn't believe it. And he was like, no, he's going to be a god to them. Trust me.
Yeah. So that's the context. Because when people say, if you're a fan of Cavill Superman, then you just don't like Gunn Superman. It's like, no, it's all these nuances. That's what was missing. There's a group of people, they like corn sweat Superman. If that's your style, rock with it. But if it's missing something, the essence. And so when you say he takes himself down, he wants to be a human. I didn't like that line in the James Gunn film. I didn't like when he said that.
I didn't either, bro. I'm as human as anyone else. As soon as he said that, I was like, no, James Gunn, stop putting your therapy notes in this shit. Stop, bro. This is James Gunn laying on the couch talking to his therapist, bro. No lie. I'm telling you, that's exactly what that shit was.
Yeah, he's like,
yes, James Gunn. We know you bleed, James Gunn. We know you hurt, James Gunn. But nobody told you to do what you did. Nobody told you to do what you did, bro.
So back to the
just saying.
With that, and the Superman, it came out, it did what it did. Now, I'm not going to retread, what it's supposed to do in the box office. What it did $614 million in the box office. That is less than Man of Steel.
Respectable when it comes to the domestic. It's respectable when it comes to the domestic.
They call him domestic man for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you did it domestically. You got to work on China a little bit next time. But with that, now we got Man of Tomorrow. So if we're taking again $614 million, Superman 2025, that's, I feel like it's kind of hitting the ceiling. And then you come with Man of Tomorrow, it feels like more of the same. And I'm nervous about that for them because
well, let me tell you something about it. So you mentioned that if Man of Tomorrow, it was a video I was watching of yours. If you said Man of Tomorrow, basically, and you put this on your Twitter page, but if Man of Tomorrow, they're not looking to, they don't think Man of Tomorrow is going to make $1 billion. They're looking, if it makes what Superman made, they'll be happy. Yeah. What I believe that they did was they lowered their standards. So instead of saying, okay, this is no longer the 2000s, this is no longer the 2010s. We're going to lower our standards as far as how these, based off of Gunn's universe, how these films are going to perform. And we're going to accept that simply because we know he is not the type of person that's going to garner that type of,
But this is the caveat, though. No, my information is coming from the same group. And I think you may have caught this last year. They were telling me about the box office expectations of James Gunn Superman. And I was like, their magic number is 500 million. That was confirmed. A trade came out and said, yeah, the 500 is the number. I said, box office between 500 to 600, they would have a parade. You saw Zazzaf parading around. You know what I'm saying?
And you were right.
Like you said, it's a lower standard. You see what I'm saying? So, but this is the caveat. My information is coming from the current group that's here. Netflix ain't in the building yet. Right. When Netflix comes in the building and, provided this deal closes, James Gunn's contract is only to 2027. So what I'm saying is, yeah, this is the spin. Because again, everything I said last year, yes, that was the spin. And I was telling people in advance, I was like, they're going to spin this. No matter what you're going to say, no matter you say, oh, I hate, I don't want to see this. I want fire James Gunn, do all that. I was just saying, hey, they're going to spin this, y'all. Okay. They did that. But now with Netflix coming in, new owners, where is this spin going to stop? Because Netflix, right, and we'll get to this where Netflix is like, oh, we're going to keep everybody in position. Everything's good. But DeLuca and Abby has the extension. James Gunn and Safran only has a 2027, meaning that things can change by the time before Man of Steel even comes out.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the caveat. I know a lot of people saw my beginning of the report and they was like, wait, what's going on? They flipping tables like, no, they can't.
I know, right? They can't keep him. This is insane. His Superman is terrible. I'm like, and I posted something like that. I said, look, it depends. I said that they gave him an extension to 2027 simply because obviously he's got to promote, he's got to get Man of Steel, Man of Tomorrow out there, he's got to do all of this stuff. Now, I did say this as well. If by some miracle that Man of Tomorrow does more than $800 million, they're gonna be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you a couple more years.
Yeah.
That is a possibility that could happen, and everybody needs to be aware of that. But see, I don't care. I don't care if they keep James Gunn. That's been everybody's like, fire James Gunn. Dude, I don't care if he stays. Just finish Snyder's shit. I don't give a damn.
And that's where Netflix can come in right there, is that Netflix wants in, because that's another part of my report was Netflix is very excited to have their hands on DC, and they're going to have their own ideas, no matter what Gunn is, is the Superman saga, whether they keep it or they don't. And this is what I've been saying too with James Gunn Superman. No matter what it does, if it made $1 billion, I still believe Zach will have a chance to do more DC. Right. So I didn't want everyone to put their eggs in just one basket. They're like, oh, Gunn has to fail.
I'm looking for Netflix to have seen the information that is out there when it comes to DC fans and said, look, these people are clamoring for this. And what we're hearing most is 52 universes. I want Netflix, once they take this over, if they take this over, to be smart enough to say, okay, I need some 52 universe experts here. What can we do with this? How can we get Snyder in here? How can we get Gunn? How can we get Guillermo del Toro? I don't give a damn who you get. Open up these universes. Do you have any idea how much money these people can make if they just open that shit up?
Netflix is going to make a lot of money off DC. Okay, I guarantee they're going to have what amounts to be their own like DC exec guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I'm looking forward to when this in 2027, there's going to be some restructuring of DC Studios. It's got to be clear.
That's inevitable. That's inevitable.
So now it's like, how's it going to run if they keep Gunn and Safran, and again, this isn't going to determine the Snyderverse, but if they keep Gunn and Safran, and okay, you put out your Superman movie every 2 years or whatever, do your Superman saga, whatever, and then Elseworlds, that Netflix DC person may be like, and maybe we could put some of this on streaming. We can do it theatrical. But we own this.
We own this exactly.
So I want to make it clear with that report, because again, I know a lot of people was like, "Oh, they're just going to give Gunn another chance." No, that's where it stands now. In 2027, when Netflix is in the building, I know there's going to be new information then. So we'll see with that. But with Man of Tomorrow, because like I said, this isn't going to determine restoring the Snyderverse here. No. But this announcement, the reason why I brought this up was the Brainiac announcement. As a DC fan, as a lifelong DC fan, Charles, I supposed to be celebrating. I supposed to be like, oh, Brainiac, like, let's go, right? I'm so just like, okay. He cast Brainiac. Like,
think of it like a football team. You got a favorite football team, right? But that don't mean just because that's your favorite football team of all time, you are not going to criticize your favorite player for fucking up. Doesn't mean you're not going to criticize the coach for fucking up. You if that's your team, you gonna criticize them because that's you saying do better.
I'm a lifelong Chicago Bears fan, right? So I've been criticizing.
You know what I'm saying? You want James Gunn to do better. It's like, James. Yeah. I know they called you in last minute for DC. I know you said you really don't want to do Superman because in the back of his mind, he know how his style is. But they were like, no, go ahead and do it. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. All we're asking is for you to have flavor, variety in this piece. That's all.
Yep.
You want your Superman, and this is me personally, but I don't believe his DCU should be the main continuity. It should be a side continuity. You know what I mean? Something else. So when it comes to him creatively, I don't care, man. Keep Gunn. I ain't got nothing against this dude. I just want him to stop running his fucking mouth all the time, all over the internet talking shit when you shouldn't be doing that, bro. You should be making stuff and then trying to see how you can maximize DC for everyone. You have the power and the ability to stop all of this nonsense that's going on, yet you haven't done it yet.
No, I mean, all he has done is, widen the divide where it can't just be healthy criticism because, everyone's like, oh, they feel like they got to protect Gunn so much. It's like, no, it's like maybe a year ago, I'd be like, oh, hey, people being too hard on Gunn. Let's see what he got. We saw what he got. Okay. And it's probably exactly what a lot of people expected. Now, Gunn is not everyone's flavor. People got to just accept that. That's not for everyone. All right. And so I already seen what he done with Superman. Now you're running it back, adding Brainiac, which is like an anticlimactic announcement. And I'm just like, man.
Look, bro, when I saw this face pop up for Brainiac, I was like, hold up. Let like Adele said from the Skyfall song, just hold your breath and count to 10 because holy shit. That's your Brainiac. So this tells me, I don't know anything about this dude. I have no idea who Lars Eidinger. Eidinger. I have no clue who this dude is. So you know what I'm expecting? I'm expecting that Guardians dance off, bro.
Imagine this dude's face
as Brainiac
with one coat of green on his face. Like he may keep his hair. Gunn may just go crazy, just paint his face green. That's all we need,
and leave the hair. And that's all we need. Maybe give him some little plugs here and there so he can have the thing sticking out. But
he gonna have the same clothes on, walking down the street with the lanterns.
Oh man.
That's what this is anticlimactic, man. And that's why I'm like, okay, this is Gunn's world. Netflix has to see this. Like they gotta see, like, okay, we need to spice this up some, or but like you said, it comes down to business. So if Man of Tomorrow hits, now
if it hits,
I think the people that likes James Gunn Superman, they'll show up for Man of Tomorrow. So you're talking about 600 million. As far as internationally, I don't know if it's going to be any growth there. You know what I'm saying? So more of the same is what it's feeling like.
Here, I predict that, yeah, it's going to be more of the same, bro. It's either going to make the same amount of money as Superman, or it's going to make a little bit less.
If it's less, I think that's walking papers for James Gunn. And so let's kind of get to the Netflix side of this thing, because like I said, this film's going to do what it do. If it's a hit, if it does make 800 million, like you said, then I think Gunn will stick around. But if for whatever reason, if it makes less, like you suggest, then I think that's going to be over. There's going to be some kind of, I don't know if it's either going to be a reboot or what's going to happen, but with Netflix, they got this new website again, the Netflix and WBtogether.com. That's the URL. And they're projecting a lot of confidence, that this deal is going to close. You got them, the Netflix CEOs visiting the Warner Brothers lot.
Warner Brothers lot, looking around. Hey, look at this.
That's gonna be my office. I was like, dang, like they flexing, bro.
They flexing.
And so let's just kind of touch on this Netflix part, and we'll get back to kind of what it means for DC Studios. But I was saying before we started, I was favoring the Paramount deal. I thought Paramount was better for the theatrical experience long term. And obviously the different investors, and we'll kind of break that down going further, but the Arab sovereign nations, I thought was a curveball because the deal leaked, right? 3 weeks ago. And I was like, oh, like you got the Saudis, you got Qatar, Abu Dhabi. It was putting together over $20 billion in a $108 billion deal. And then things started coming out as far as, okay, does Paramount really have the money? We'll see. What with you, it's clear you were pulling for Netflix, the entire time here. What, obviously Snyderverse, I'm sure it's a big part of it, but what was convincing you, like, okay, Netflix could pull this off? Because this shocked everyone, I think, except the Netflix moving online, and you're included in that, and everyone that's been spearheading that. What was convincing you that Netflix could really pull this off?
Let me give you more reasons to follow the homie Sil for the latest news, scoops, and moves he's about to reveal. From coffee talks to special brews, Hamada burgers for meals, a cup of bourbon with that tea that's about to get spilled. Like, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know the ins and outs. Who's walking out, buying in? We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. Take out your pen and paper, sit down and take notes. Sil is the realest among imposter, scavenging cutthroat. So, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know the ins and outs. Who's walking out, buying in? We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show. Let's go. Between DC and Marvel, they both have a startle. Disney's moving finicky, let's not mention Star Wars. All these movie execs be drunk off that power, disconnected from the fans in the ivory towers. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know the ins and outs. Who's walking out, buying in? We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. When they keep making the same mistake, that's what you call insanity. They can't even acknowledge their self-inflicted calamity. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know the ins and outs. Who's walking out, buying in? We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show, let's go. Scoop Senator, coffee talks, also covering analytics, making his own reviews, cause it's always been the critics. They clout chasers, money driven, repeating the latest gimmick. Come over to Sil Nation where true vision is given. Listen, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know the ins and outs. Who's walking out, buying in? We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. Let's not forget Mikey's son, always special to the crew from day one when him and Sil got together for special brew. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know the ins and outs. Who's walking out, buying in? We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show, let's go. I guess I finish on this note. When the niggas go flip mode, they turn gremlins, I'm gizmo. Come from my people, my kinfolk. For them I ride for and kill for. With this pistol I'm skillful. Shit can really escalate till it all goes abysmal. What's the latest word? Yo, still, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, still, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. I'm a watchman, forever vigilant, steady watching and listening, disciplined, militant, killing these dudes that started visiting. What's the latest word? Yo, still, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, still, we need to know the ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show. Let's go.